Hello, sports fans. It is Tuesday, April the 21st, the year 2015. And as always, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Great to be back with you guys. Hope you guys are enjoying the NBA and NHL playoffs. Let's start with the NBA today. I know it's very early in the NBA playoffs, but let's see where we are right now in the NBA. Let's start in the Eastern Conference. Atlanta is up over Brooklyn 1-0. Game 2 tomorrow night in Atlanta. You'd expect Atlanta to get through here. Atlanta had a big-time season. Brooklyn barely made the playoffs. Brooklyn played terribly down the stretch. I mean, Atlanta should win this series fairly easy. Like I said, they're up 1-0. Game 2 tomorrow in Atlanta. Washington is up 1-0 against Toronto. Game 2 tonight in Toronto. Washington had that big overtime win in Game 1. This is an even series. You expect this series to be long. You expect it to maybe go 7 games. Could go either way. Right now, Washington up 1-0. Game 2 tonight. And the winner of the Atlanta-Brooklyn series will play the winner of the Washington-Toronto series. On the other side of the Eastern bracket, Cleveland is up 1-0 against Boston in their series. Game 2 tonight. Boston did a great job getting into the playoffs. Stevens, who used to coach Butler, did a great job with the Celtic team getting to the playoffs. Thomas has done a nice job since coming over in the trade. He's looked really good for Boston. Boston's done a nice job getting to this point, but they're overmatched here. They are not going to beat Cleveland. Cleveland will get through. They're up 1-0. Game 2 tonight. And Chicago is up 2-0 against Milwaukee. Game 3 is on Thursday in Milwaukee. Listen, like Boston, Milwaukee has done a nice job just to get to the playoffs. I think Jason Kidd has done a nice job. Milwaukee's got some decent young players. They've done this without Parker, who missed most of the year with the knee injury. So Milwaukee's future looks bright. Maybe they get a new arena as well. Milwaukee's future looks bright, but they're no match for Chicago. Chicago is much, much the better team. And I'll tell you, if you have a healthy Derrick Rose, Chicago can do some damage in the Eastern Conference. With a healthy Derrick Rose, and you got Gasol and Butler and Noah, Chicago can beat anyone if they have a healthy Derrick Rose. He's so fragile, though, he can get hurt at any moment. But with him on the court, Chicago is very dangerous. The winner of the Cleveland-Boston series will play the Chicago-Milwaukee winner. You could have a Cleveland-Chicago second-round matchup. That would be tremendous. As far as the Western Conference, Golden State beat New Orleans last night to go up 2-0. They play Game 3 Thursday in New Orleans. New Orleans, they're another team. They hung in these first 2 games. They've done a nice job getting to the playoffs. Davis looks like an absolute stud. You put another quality player with Davis, New Orleans is going to have a nice team for years to come. But Golden State is just too good right now. You have the Splash Brothers, they have Curry and Thompson. They're just too deep right now for this young Pelican team. Golden State is going to get through. They're up 2-0. Game 3 Thursday in New Orleans. Should be a nice atmosphere down there in the Big Easy. Memphis is up 1-0 against Portland. Game 2 is on Wednesday night. Portland has so many injuries. I mean, they got a bunch of guys playing hurt. They got guys out. Portland is just a mess right now. They're too beat up right now. And Memphis has their share of injuries too, but Portland's even worse. If they were both healthy, these teams would be an even matchup, but you got to favor Memphis right now. Portland just looks so banged up. Aldridge is laboring out there. He's got some injuries. You have to favor Memphis. I think Memphis has beaten Portland every game this year. Memphis has home court. I'd expect Memphis to get through. Memphis up 1-0, Game 2 Wednesday night. Like I said, the winner of Golden State, New Orleans, will play the winner of Memphis, Portland. On the other side of the Western bracket, Houston is up 1-0 against Dallas. Game 2 tonight. This is not a vintage Dallas Maverick team. They're okay. They're not great. Not like they were a few years ago when they won the championship. I mean, Houston is much, much the better team here. I would be shocked if Houston didn't win this series. And the Clippers are up 1-0 against San Antonio. Game 2 Wednesday night. Nice job by the Clippers in Game 1. They ran San Antonio off the court. Can the Clippers maintain that performance? I mean, Game 2 is a very pivotal game. If the Clippers can go up 2-0, you really like their chances. But in years past, this is where the Clippers would lose and San Antonio would step up their game and win. You never count out the Spurs. I mean, you just never do. They got too much experience, so many great players on that roster. The Clippers really looked good in Game 1, though. I liked what I saw from the Clippers. A great start from them. Can they maintain it over a course of a long series? We'll see. Game 2, very pivotal tomorrow night. Clippers go up 2-0. You gotta like their chances, but like I said in years past, this is the spot where the Clippers would fall short and San Antonio would up their game. That's a must-watch tomorrow night. All right, so that's kind of where you are in your NBA, and Houston-Dallas winner will play the winner of the Clippers-San Antonio series. So that's where you are in your NBA. Very early in the NBA playoffs, and they do a terrible job, the NBA, is spacing these games out. I mean, they play one game, and then there's a 3-day break, and there's a 4-day break. I mean, it's too spaced out the first round. There's no flow at all. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, the Clippers in San Antonio, they played Sunday, and they don't play again till Wednesday, and they don't even have to change cities? Why? I mean, come on. I mean, I know it's probably for TV and, ratings and all that kind of stuff and getting certain games on certain nights, but come on, these first-round games are way too spaced out. But that's where you are in the NBA right now. Let's go over to the NHL. Let's go over to the Eastern Conference. The Rangers had a big win in Pittsburgh last night, 2-1. The Rangers take a 2-1 series lead. Game 4 on Wednesday night in Pittsburgh. All 3 games in this series have been decided by 1 goal. I thought Pittsburgh in Game 2 was much the better team. I thought the Rangers were much the better team last night. They were up 2-0. They held on for the 2-1 victory. I mean, I still think it's the Rangers series to lose. They now have home ice back. I am not a believer in this Penguin team. I mean, they're going to have to prove it to me. I think it's still the Rangers series to lose. Nice road win by the Rangers last night. They are up 2-1 in the series. Montreal is up 3-0 against Ottawa. Game 4 on Wednesday. Montreal has won 4-3, 3-2, and 2-1 in overtime. I mean, Ottawa has been in every one of these games, but they just can't find a way to win. They just can't do it. They can't get over the hump. Montreal keeps finding ways to win. Ottawa finds ways to lose. I mean, I like what Ottawa did this year. They came roaring back to make the playoffs, but now they have dug themselves a hole that is insurmountable. Montreal is going to get through here. The games have been close, but Montreal has found ways to win. Ottawa has found ways to lose. The Islanders are up 2-1 over the Washington Capitals. Game 4 tonight at the Coliseum. Islanders win Game 3 in overtime on the big Tavares overtime goal early in overtime. I'll tell you, this is a monster game for Washington tonight. Washington loses here and they go down 3-1. They are done. They are not going to come back. I think the Coliseum is going to be jumping tonight. I told you the Islander fans are really into this playoffs because, the Islanders are moving to Brooklyn next year. It's the last time they're playing at the Coliseum. The fans are really into it. They're really into this series. And I just don't like what I see from Washington. I mean, they did a nice job in Game 2 with the backup goalie coming back and winning that game. They played a decent road game in Game 3. They took the game to overtime, but there's just something about Washington once they get into the playoffs. I mean, there's just something about them. They just don't play the same as they do in the regular season. I just don't trust this Washington team. And if they fall down 3-1, there is no way they're coming back. There's just no way. I do not believe in this Washington team. I have an eerie feeling about them. I thought at the end of the regular season they were really making a move. They moved up the standings. They got home ice here, but they've reverted back to the old Washington in the playoffs. I'm getting an eerie feeling about the Capitals. And the Islanders are doing a nice job. The Coliseum should be rocking tonight. And Tampa Bay and Detroit, they are tied 1-1. Game 3 tonight in Detroit. Tampa Bay outshot Detroit like 1,000,000-10 in the first game, but Detroit found a way to win. Tampa Bay came back and dominated Game 2. I think Tampa Bay is the better team here, but it's still Detroit. Detroit is one of those franchises, like the Yankees or the Lakers, you never can count them out. I do think Tampa Bay is the better team here. I do think Tampa Bay is going to win this series. And by the way, one correction. I'm so used to the NHL from years past reseeding. The NHL, they have these new divisions now. Now they have set brackets in the NHL now. It's like the NBA. They have set brackets no matter who wins. They changed all the divisions, so they did away with the whole reseeding thing. So the winner of the Rangers-Pittsburgh series will play the winner of the Islanders-Capitals series. Imagine if you get Rangers-Islanders in the next round. That'll be Armageddon here in New York. And the winner of Montreal-Ottawa will play the winner of Tampa Bay-Detroit. So that would be a good series, too, if you get like a Montreal-Tampa Bay series. So they do not reseed anymore in the NHL. It's like the NBA. They have set brackets. That's your Eastern Conference in the NBA. Over to the Western Conference we go. Anaheim came back again and beat Winnipeg last night, 5-4 in overtime at Winnipeg. Anaheim takes a 3-0 series lead. They've come back in all three games. Game 4 Wednesday night in Winnipeg. The Winnipeg fans were tremendous last night. I mean, they waited a long time for a playoff game. I thought Winnipeg was going to hang on and win this one, but Anaheim did it again. 3 times they've come back and beat Winnipeg. Winnipeg and their fans must be heartsick. Give Anaheim all sorts of credit after their tough loss last year against the Kings. They redid their team. They actually redid their team to compete with the Kings. The Kings don't even make the playoffs, but all the moves they made are really working out. Nice, gritty performance by Anaheim. Again, 3 straight comebacks. They're up 3-0. You can't see Winnipeg coming back from that. Minnesota shut out St. Louis last night, 3-0 in Minnesota. Minnesota takes a 2-1 series lead. Game 4 on Wednesday in Minnesota. I'll tell you, Minnesota looked very, very impressive last night. Minnesota looks like a solid team. They dominated that game last night. I was very impressed with Minnesota. What's with St. Louis in the playoffs? The last 3 years now, St. Louis has had monster teams. The last couple of years, they go out early. They have 2-0 series lead the last couple of years, only to lose. And here they are. They had a monster year this year, 109 points. That tied Anaheim for the most points in the West, and they're behind in Minnesota 2-1, and they look like they could be in trouble. Minnesota looked very, very impressive last night. I loved what I saw from Minnesota. St. Louis, here we go again with them in the playoffs. Game 4 Wednesday in Minnesota. Oh, by the way, that game, Anaheim-Winnipeg Game 4 is on Wednesday as well. Chicago is up 2-1 over Nashville. Game 4 tonight in Chicago. I think Chicago's the better team here. I've said it all along. Chicago, when they're healthy, can make a Stanley Cup playoff run. We've seen them do it before. I love the Chicago fans. I mean, Nashville, I didn't like the way they played at the end of the regular season, so I think Chicago is going to win this series. Right now, they're up 2-1. Game 4 tonight in Chicago. And Calgary is up 2-1 against Vancouver. Game 4 tonight in Calgary. Boy, Calgary's a gritty team. No one thought they would make the playoffs this year, and they are doing a really nice job. They really battle. They never give up. Vancouver, interesting to see if they go with Miller in goal. I'm waiting to see if they put Miller in goal. They got a veteran goalie there. Maybe that gives them some new life. So we'll see if Miller plays for Vancouver tonight. Calgary up 2-1 and Game 4 tonight in Calgary. This is a very pivotal game. And as far as the Western Conference brackets, the winner of Anaheim-Winnipeg will play the winner of Calgary-Vancouver, and the winner of Minnesota-St. Louis will play the winner of Chicago-Nashville. So you could get a Chicago-Minnesota or a Chicago-St. Louis second round. That would be some really, really good hockey. So you got tremendous stuff in the NHL, a lot of great games coming up. You know, tonight, tomorrow, a lot of swing games, a lot of series 2-1. Make sure you tune into the NHL. I think the NHL playoffs has been absolutely fabulous. A lot of overtime games, a lot of one-goal games. I mean, I don't understand some people that don't like the NHL, especially NHL playoff hockey. It's very, very exciting. I am a big fan of the NHL, especially come playoff time. We all know the regular season is too long, though. That's where you are in your NHL. As far as the baseball, real quick, just a real quick overview on the baseball. Boston looks like a good team. They seem to be a decent team this year. Detroit and Kansas City continue to play very well. Houston, despite their horrible start, they're up to 7-6. Houston has a lot of good young players. We'll see how they progress during the season. Mets doing a tremendous job. Harvey already 3-0. Atlanta may be better than everyone thought. We know St. Louis is always good. The Cubs look like they could be improved. They got some decent young players. You know the Dodgers are going to be there. And San Diego looks much improved this year. As far as some teams that I've been disappointed with this year, Cleveland 4-8. They had a terrible loss last night. They give up 4 runs in the ninth. Cleveland off to a bad start, 4-8. Seattle 5-8, despite Nelson Cruz hitting 8 home runs already. Angels 5-8. Now they got this whole Hamilton thing hanging over their heads. Washington off to their usual bad start, 6-7. How about Miami 3-10? Are you kidding me? Terrible job by Miami. San Francisco 4-10. Hey, we got to give them a mulligan. They've won a couple World Series. They had some turnover. They got some injuries. I'll give San Francisco a mulligan. It's way too early to count them out. Way too early. I mean, San Francisco, you can never give up on. They have a really good organization. And Milwaukee, 2-11. What's the story with Milwaukee? And is Ryan Braun ever going to be the same player he was years ago? So that's just a quick overview on baseball. We got all sorts of time in baseball. NFL schedule comes out tonight. For those of you looking for a little NFL, the NFL schedule comes out tonight. You can see who your favorite team is playing, who's playing on Monday night. I believe that comes out tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. You get a little NFL schedule tonight. And I saw Tim Tebow signs with the Eagles. I'm surprised Tim Tebow hasn't been in the league somewhere. Tim Tebow did win a playoff game with Denver, and there's a lot of bad second and third string quarterbacks in the NFL, so I'm surprised Tim Tebow hasn't been in the league. Now, I don't think Tim Tebow is a great quarterback. I don't think he can throw, but I am surprised he hasn't gotten a chance before this. I wish Tim Tebow wouldn't be so stubborn and he'd try a different position. Maybe he could be a fullback or a different position. He's a guy you'd like to have on your team because of his character, but he's so stubborn about playing the quarterback position. By the way, Chip Kelly and the Eagles, are they trying to reinvent the wheel or something? I mean, they trade Foles for Bradford. Now they got Bradford, they got Tebow, they got Barkley, they got Sanchez. I mean, I always feel like Chip Kelly's trying to reinvent the wheel. I mean, it's one thing when you're doing that with Oregon, when you're playing Cal and Washington State. Hard to do this in the NFL. I mean, he's had his moments in the NFL, Chip Kelly, where you look at the Eagles and you're like, wow, his style is really working. And then some games you're like, this is just not going to work in the NFL. So Chip Kelly, I always feel like, is trying to reinvent the wheel. I don't know what he plans for Tebow here, but Tebow does sign on with the Eagles. Like I said, you got your NFL schedules coming out tonight. All right, there you go. You guys are all caught up. You guys are all set. You got your NBA tonight. You got your NHL. You always have your Major League Baseball, so you got a lot to watch tonight. It's funny. One quick word on the playoffs. In the NBA, the better team usually wins. You're going to get your favorites usually winning in the NBA. Very rarely do you get big upsets in the NBA. The NHL is different. The NHL, you could be an 8th seed and make a run at the cup. The NHL is very different than the NBA in that aspect. The NBA, the best team usually wins. NHL, not the case. An 8th seed can win the cup. All right, so you guys got a lot of games to watch tonight. You got NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, MLB. You got the NFL schedule coming out. A lot to watch tonight. I will be back with you Thursday. We'll go over it all. See where we are in the NBA and the NHL playoffs. Anything else that comes up in the sports world. Next week, we'll preview the Kentucky Derby. Believe it or not, that's coming up as well as the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight. That's already here. So we'll preview that next week. I will be back with you guys Thursday. Thanks, as always, for the support. You guys are the best. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. Enjoy the playoff games tonight. I will talk to you Thursday. Take care.